Welcome to Longview Gameday. I'm Morgan Smith. We have the man with us, Coach King. Got one of my favorite people, Keaton Daniels, and our guy that makes everything happen in Longview, Frank Sides, with us. We're powered by Buddy's Home Furnishing today. I'm so excited about this football season. Number one ranking coming out. Keaton, what was your first? Where did you hear the news first?
Saw it on Twitter. I forgot who shared it. I can't give them credit, but saying that
On
we was
Game Day.
ranked number one. Yeah, it probably was us. I'm gonna say it was us. But when
Hey,
I saw that
listen.
we was,
I had to have been the very first person to get my magazine in the state of Texas. Hey, there were people in July waiting on their magazines. I had
yeah,
mine like the first week of June. I was telling everybody, oh, they send these out to media early. I don't know how I got my magazine so early. I thought like everybody knew. I come back from the 7-on-7 and it's been at my house all week.
oh man.
Like,
Well, I tell you, when I saw that we was number one, the first thing I thought of was Coach King ain't gonna like this. He ain't gonna like this. Too much. It's a big target right there, starting off on our back. But I love it. I mean, we are returning a lot of starters. We look like we paused the way that we finished last year. We can just carry that on. Sky's the limit for this team.
Coach, you've coached under huge expectations, obviously, and you coached under great players, including your son. With the number one ranking, all of us being from Longview here, we know what that means, and we know what kind of expectations that comes with the fan base, having a great fan base that expects greatness. What was your first thought? I mean, I know you're good enough for that ranking.
I got a text from Rex Scoggins about it. Those guys must really like you. And I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? And then he starts telling me we're ranked number one. I said, well, I figured we'd be pretty high, but I don't know if we'd be number one with the likes of Denton Ryan. You've got College Station and that played for a state championship, Alitos in our division. There's a bunch of really, really good football teams, but it is what it is. When you return 15 starters, 40 lettermen, uh, there's high expectations for your program, and all that is potential. The production has yet to be done, and there's a lot of things that can go your way, and there's a lot of things that can get in the way, and that's the things we preach to our kids about. I mean, what are the things that we can control? What are the things we can't? And but all those rankings don't mean anything unless we do it on the field, and nobody's going to give us anything. Every game we've got with our opponent, I'm sure, is circled. Whether it's McKinney Board, Tyler High, Lufkin, Lancaster. I mean, they're playing the Lobos, and it's a big game on their schedule. So those lofty expectations are every year, every week, really. It is what it is. I'd rather be expected to win than expected to lose. I've said that a lot of times. Our kids have seemed to be able to handle it. I have not heard one word mentioned by a kid this summer about being ranked number one. Uh, I don't even know if, I'm sure they do with social media now, but, uh, it's kind of like water off a duck's back. They just move on. It's another day, another year, and get ready to go play. And that's the great thing about coaching Lobo football. Our kids play in so many big games. Every week's a big game. They know how to handle it, know how to practice. And Keaton can tell you this. We don't play the game on Monday at practice. We get prepared for Friday's game. We have a preparation schedule. We do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and every day is important. And no day is more important than another, just like any ball game. They're all important. We want to talk about winning a state championship. Well, hell, you got 15 other games you got to win to get there. So take care of your business.
Were these kids that are seniors now? Were they freshmen during the last state championship?
No, they were eighth graders.
Eighth graders. Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Frank.
So we don't have anybody that's in that locker room that's won a state championship. So it's something that is a goal. Yes, it is. It's not the only goal. We've got non-district goals. We got district goals. We got playoff goals. And there's a lot of goals to meet before you can get to that level.
Absolutely.
And when you get to the playoffs, being 1-0 every week's all that matters, and nothing else does.
Coach, it's hard to imagine that we're 3 weeks away from a football game, but we are. And I want to talk about the first game for just a second. It's not Denton Ryan at the Star, but it's no pushover. That's a 6A football team that averaged 29 points a game in a tough district last year. How different is it going to be preparing for them with a different coach on the sideline this year?
Well, that's the thing about it. They do have a new head coach. Daniel Foster was offensive coordinator. He's taken over as a head coach. They were a good quality opponent. We played McKinney Board back in 2012 or 13. I don't remember the exact year, but played them in the playoffs. And they're a hard-nosed football team. And here's a guy, first-time head coaching job. I'm sure he's anxious to go prove his body of work, but I don't know that much about him. How much have they changed offensively with, I'm sure he had to hire a new offensive coordinator. I would imagine it would stay the same since he's an offensive guy. And what are they going to do different on defense? Everybody puts their own little twist to it. So don't know that much about them other than the fact they do play in a tough district. They're going to be a good opponent to kick off with. So we'll see. We got to get our kids prepared to go play.
And expectation-wise, it's a big part of – as you guys progress and move forward, the season's going to could be managing expectations. What's your messaging like to that team when you get off that bus for that first road game? But everybody there, they may not mention it, but they know what the expectations are there.
Well, Frank, Dick Keaton can tell you this. I do most of my talking during the week. You get on the bus. I mean, if I got to go tell you how to act, try to play, I haven't done my job all week. So they're going to hear it from day one. The main thing is the main thing, getting your butt ready to play. And don't forget who you're playing for. You're playing for Lobos Nation, Longview Community, Longview High School. You're playing for the Lobos on your chest. That's what's most important. And you're going to have to do it as a team. And if we have selfish behavior, we have, people that want to showboat, probably not going to play good. And they hear that from me. I guess you call me old school. But I believe that you got to keep the main thing that's going to win in a football game and finding a way to make more plays than the other team. And you don't make plays by talking. You make plays by playing and working and getting prepared to go win a game. And that's going to be our focus. I mean, we've got so many kids coming back, and we had a really good spring. We had a really good summer. I'm hoping our retention level is pretty good, so we're going to be able to progress a little bit faster than we have the last couple of years. And that'll be big for us too. But, you can't lose sight of the little things. And when you start losing sight of the little things, trying to do too much too fast, and sometimes you're not good at anything. I tell you what we're going to get good at is running power and counter. And being able to do that through play action. We're going to get good and line up in a 4-man front playing defense, chasing the football. And then we'll move from there. But you're still blocking and tackling. You got to do that. You got to go execute. And that's going to be the message they're going to hear from August 8th until we get ready to go play.
That kind of leads into my next question. Sorry, Keaton. We all know that the offensive line and the defensive line are going to take the Lobos as far as they're going to go. When practice fires up next week, what are you looking to see out of that group?
Well, you know what? Being an old offensive lineman, hearing you say that made hair stand up on the back of my neck. You're telling me that we're going to go as far as my level of play. I'm fixing to play my ass off. And we got 5 guys up front fixing to do it on offense. We got some guys on defense fixing to chase the ball. And you're right. Line of scrimmage is where you win football games. Yes, you've got playmakers. You got the Jalen Hills, the Taylor Tatums, the Willie Nelsons of the world, Buda Garrett, Chase Smith. I mean, Freddie Hawkins, nobody knows about him. They're going to find out. Mm-hmm. You got guys like that. They're going to make big plays. A.J. Johnson. But if you can win a line of scrimmage, okay, you can run the football, you can protect the throw it, and on defense, if you can stop the run and make them do something and get one-dimensional, you can win ball games. And it starts there. And iron sharpens iron. And I love it. I mean, the line of scrimmage is where it's at. And until you've coached it or played it, you don't understand. And I think any coach in America will tell you the toughest place to coach is offensive line. That is the toughest place to coach because you got to know so many schemes and you got to cover so many fronts and so many movements. And a lot of times you're not doing with the best players on the field. Sometimes these guys are not the most athletic. So getting those guys that synced up in unison and getting them where they can play. And it's just like watching, a dance. Everything's synchronized and people are moving. It's a thing of beauty. So I guess I'm weird when I like to talk about things like that. You can sit down and you can click that tape on and hit that point and you start seeing the line of scrimmage move. It's a beautiful sight.
Absolutely. Because to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, I know during the weeks, you're going to be harder on the kids as instead of being on Friday. I mean, practice is going to be harder than the game, but that's the type of atmosphere. That's what being a Lobo is all about. But by the time Friday come around, you want the guys, you know that send every test at them, and you want them to be ready come their first game against McKinney North.
Yeah, and that's the expectation of the program. It's kind of the culture around here. I mean, I said iron sharpens iron, but the competition we have on a day-to-day basis in practice, in off season, in summer, it doesn't matter. There's competition every day. I mean, we've got great players. Yes, some are better than others. Yes, they got to compete every day. Jalen Hale, he just don't get to walk around with the crown on his head and tell everybody how good he is. Jalen Hale's worked his butt off to get where he's at, and he's done that all summer long. Taylor Tatum, same way. Jordan Allen's had a really good summer. But that's the culture. They know there's going to be competition. We're gonna coach them hard and love them up, and treat them like our kids. I mean, it's that tough love that you got to give kids. And the day that leaves Lobo football's the day Lobo football's going to be in trouble. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know if that'll ever happen in Longview. The community's just a little bit tougher than most.
No. One thing about this community, we're gonna keep the main thing, and that's just focus on day by day instead of focusing on the end of the season or playoff time. We got to take care of business week one.
One of the neatest things now is coaching former players' kids and being able to tell them, your daddy, he did it. Your daddy was such and such. He didn't break. He didn't give in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I sometimes I may throw a little more on there, but that's a neat thing, and it's crazy to see just when they come in and how much they favor their parents, or they favor their uncles, or whatever, their mannerisms, their facial expressions, and how they play. There's a lot of similarities there, so it's a great community to coach in, and being able to coach these kids here there's no place like it. And I've said it many times. It's a community team. You can coach them as hard as you want to, and they will play the same way on Friday night.
I bet you never thought you would have got to this point when you're coaching the kids.
No, when I got the job, I was just coaching for my job every week. I was not the popular choice at the time. I was a first-time head coach and didn't really realize at the time how lucky I was. To me, I thought I deserved the job. I knew I could do it. But to everybody else, here's a storied program like Longview with, I don't know, at the time had 500 or 600 wins under his belt. Here's a guy that's never been a head coach that you promote from within. So they ran their neck out there for me. And I felt like I was always having to try to prove something. And I still do. I don't think Coach King ain't got complacent. I can tell you that. It's that's not going to happen. But I didn't think I'd be here 23 years, entering my 19th year as a head coach. Sure didn't, but it seems like I just got here.
Oh, yeah. I want to share a quick story. I want to give you your flowers, Coach. I remember before you even took over the head coaching job, you was the offensive coordinator. You had us, you ran us like you were the head coach. So before you even took that job, you was ready for it. You was ready for it. I mean, you came in, and before we heard Coach Collins' voice, we heard your voice. During the period, you was on us harder. You was on us harder than he was. So you was ready long before you became the head coach.
Those roles that I was in early on. Yeah, he told me, he said, you get over here. I'm not going to tell you on air what he told me, but he said, you get over here and kick their butt. You report back to me after the athletic period if there's any problem. He was trying to get everything else straight, but the role I was in, I was the hammer. That's what he wanted, and me being a head coach now, I've got to have a hammer too. I mean, that's had Casey Pierce, had got John Berry back. I mean, guys like that, guys that can go do that, because there's times that I can't be in the athletic period. There's times I'm going to be away. I'm not going to miss practice. I'm not going to miss games, but you got to go do other things. So you got to have people you trust, or people that been with you and have like-minded thinking. Got 7 former players that's coaching with me now from middle school to high school. So that culture, it ain't ventured much. I get accused of being soft now, Keaton. Can you believe that?
No, I definitely can't believe that. Coach, what's wrong with you? You're not the Coach King, I know.
I don't know. I let them wear sweats. Malcolm Kelly came through and he said, "You let them wear sweats?" Because back in the day when Keaton was playing, it was cut off shimmel shirts, shorts. I mean, do we even give y'all girdles then?
Yeah, we had girdles.
If it was 20 degrees and raining, we were outside. There wasn't no indoor place to go. We were outside on the grass. And I would dress in the same. I wouldn't wear a shimmel, but I put on shorts and a t-shirt. I said, "Don't call your mama and tell her that you're out here getting mistreated, because I'm wearing the same thing." True or not?
Yeah, that's true. Hey, we used to try to steal the offensive lineman shirts because they was bigger.
We got rid of Schimmels. I can tell you that. Woo, that was
Hey,
bad.
I'm jealous by that, but
I
we
think they're
paved the way for
back
them
in
kids.
style, you know. Schimmels.
So, Coach, we're going to switch gears a little bit. This is a little bit more personal question, but you and Jody celebrated your 25th year of marriage yesterday. Talk about what she and by extension other coaches' wives do in the background to make this happen. They play a huge role, and I can imagine massive for you. You've got a daughter that's a first-team All-American on the vault. You've got a son that's quarterback at Texas A&M. So you guys were able to make that work. Obviously, did an excellent job with those two. But what do they do in the background to help make this all work?
Well, I've got a great coaching staff, and they've all got great wives because they know the hours we put in. There's nobody calling the field house saying, "Hey, baby, when you coming home?" They allow us to go coach, and that's what Jody did. I mean, she's never once come up here and said, "Hey, are you coming home?" Or, you drop the kids off, so you got them. I'm tired. She's always kind of wore both hats and played mom and daddy, and she chauffeured them around to their practices and their games when I couldn't. And all these wives are the same. We do try to make it a family atmosphere, and we do try to make it where on the weekends these coaches can have Saturdays off to go watch their kids play soccer, baseball, football, whatever it is. Go watch them dance. I don't care. Just take a day off. And we come back and work on Sunday. I mean, with technology now, we don't have to all come up here and just kind of hold each other's hand and get it done. The thing is to get your job done. But, there's a special place in heaven for a coach's wife. I can tell you that. Could just have to put up with the scrutiny that you get. I mean, I couldn't imagine sitting in the stands for 23 years, me being here in Longview, what my wife's had to hear because I don't make every right call, believe it or not. But I remember going to watch A&M play in the spring game, the first spring game we could watch with Haynes, and some of those comments made up there. I looked at my wife. I said, "I can't sit up here." She said, "That's what I've been telling you for whatever, how many years." We'll find somewhere else to sit, or there's going to be a fight. But it's with wives, like I said, they got to do it all, and we do try to let our coaches get out of here when they can, because it's a long day. I mean, our practice starts at 5:00, we get through about 7:00. Coaches don't get out of here no earlier than 7:30 on a weeknight, and there's a bunch of them's got little kids at home that they got to go see. They got to go cook and clean and feed and help them with homework and all those things. So try to get them out here, but our coaches are great, and so are the wives, and they get along. The chemistry of your staff is as important as the chemistry of your locker room. You got to work together. You got to work through hard times together. You got to make difficult decisions. It may not be everybody's choice, but you got to sooner or later you got to come up with a common decision everybody can leave out there with, and we can go do our job. So, but they do an excellent job, and just want to thank all of them, and just not on the wives of the Lobos staff, but all the wives that have husbands that are coaches, regardless of the sport, because you're giving up your time together as a family for them to go get it. So they're special people. And I never thought I'd stay married with Jody 25 years either, boy. It was rough.
All right, so back to football, Coach. Let's fast forward to December, right? And let's just say the Lobos are crowned 5A Division I state champs. What's the one thing that happened that had to have happened to get to that point?
Woo. Well, Frank, that's a difficult question because a lot of things can happen. That can change. I mean, it can be a deal where you got to outscore people. It may be where you have to play, like-minded football where your ball control and your defense is playing good. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. But I think, like I said earlier, we're going to have to stay healthy. We're going to have playmakers on offense that can put the ball in the end zone, whether it's 3 times a game or 6 times a game. So we got to have those guys, and you got to play good defense and staying healthy there. But the 4-letter word, little luck. Don't think you don't have to have a little luck, and make plays at the right time. When 18, when we won it, we were rocking along there pretty good and ran into a bad weather game down there at Waco ISD with Spring Westville. And we caught some breaks and made plays when we had to, and he come out there with a 14-0 win. We found a way to win, and that's what championship football teams do.
That quarterback had a little Tony Romo in him, didn't he?
Yeah, he's throwing interceptions early on, so he did look like one.
Oh, no, you just lost half our audience.
I didn't think you were going to flip it that way.
Hey, I was a Redskins fan, man. We had Trent Williams on the Redskins. I wasn't a Romo fan. Now I'm a San Francisco Los Angeles Rams fan.
Coach, one of my favorite Lobos last year was Jeremiah Rugley. I saw multiple times throughout the year, like, man, this guy's looks like a D1 football player. How's he progressed through this offseason?
He's had a great spring. He had a great summer. Jeremiah's setting himself up for an outstanding season. He's explosive. He's probably right now about 215, 220, a guy that can do a lot of things. He can rush the passer, he can drop, he can play tight end. He works some tight end for us, so you may see him at tight end for us on offense. So he's just got a unique skill set, and we can do a lot of things with him, whether it be play him at the end in a 4-down defensive front or go to a 3-down look and put him as an outside linebacker and drop him in coverage. So real excited about him. It's amazing to watch how these kids – I need to get out and can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. But see how they grow up and mature to what they become as seniors. So he's really he's put himself in position to have an outstanding year, and I think he's a Division I football player. He's going to get some offers this fall based off his film. You
know what he finished with? About 70 tackles, 10 sacks. Great football season.
10 sacks and no telling how many tackles for loss and a bunch of hurries. He can get after it.
Yeah, I think after that Bryant game, he played real big. He became a force to be reckoned with after that game.
Yeah, he did.
I think go ahead, Coach. Sorry.
No, I just said he did. He did everything. It's a coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this comment online. I started thinking about it. There's been so many great defensive backs come out of Longview High School, and I saw a comment. It was like, by the numbers, this may be the best as a whole defensive backfield Longview seen in a long, long time.
I wouldn't argue with that comment. And we're basing that off of them starting as sophomores last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
All 4 guys in the secondary were sophomores, both corners, both safeties. Okay, they played outstanding. They grew up. They were thrown in the fire in a hurry with Denton Ryan week 1. You saw how they grew up, whether it was defending the pass or fitting a run or just making plays. Now, their effort as a sophomore, that doesn't need to be the top end of their game. They still need to progress, but if they continue to work and improve and do the things they're capable of doing, very special as a whole. And they're smart. They can run. They can tackle. They're unselfish. Willie can play tailback. Chase Smith can play receiver. Buda Garrett can play receiver. Jaden Simmons can go do whatever. They're versatile. And, we got another guy, Jakevian Curry, people don't know a lot about. He's had a great, great offseason. Ran track, ran on the relays, outstanding summer. He's a 6 foot, 6'1" corner, length, can run. He's really bought in. He's dialed in right now. So we're expecting a great year out of him, and being able to have him is going to enable us to play with a little bit more of a nickel package, so to speak, and give him some different looks. So look for big things out of him.
All right, Coach. Before we let you go, how little does Willie Nelson like to fair catch on those punts? You're gonna have to work on him with that.
Let me tell you about Willie. He wants to put the ball in the end zone. Take the good with the bad. Just make smart decisions and type ball games. What I'm going to do. Just not do anything to get him the ball back. But that's another. Willie's an outstanding return guy. So is the Curry kid I talked about. Jalen Hill can return kicks and punts. I mean, we got some guys we can put on the field and get the balls in different ways. So, yeah. Oh, Willie, since he had to play defense, he's still trying to score.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
The other way to do it is to intercept passes too, huh?
He wants the ball, Coach. He wants the ball.
Coach, we can't have you on and not bring up, this explosive offense looks like we're going to have this year. Taylor Tatum at running back, averaging 7 yards of carries last year. Jalen Hill averaging 23 yards a catch, 14 touchdowns, 1,150-ish yards. How exciting is it for you? And I know you coach great players, possibly one of the greatest players to ever play football. How exciting is it for you when you have guys like this coming through your program?
Well, you got weapons. The bad thing is you only got one football, but you got to find a way to get them touches in different ways. And we're not going to go into a game of script say we're going to get Jalen 12 touches and Taylor Tatum 18 carries and Elijah Johnson got to get him 20 touches. Fred Hawkins, you got other guys you got to think about, but we're going to go in with the mindset of trying to win the ball game. And if they touch it, they touch it. But we are going to try to spread the ball around. We got guys to do it. Jordan can do it. Here's a guy's 3-year varsity player. He understands our offense. I mean, there's not a play that I can call, whether I call it 3 months later, he's going to know what to do. That's the great thing of having an experienced quarterback. And but no, those guys can make plays, whether we hand it to them or throw it to them. And, I'm excited about it. They're good. The guys behind them are good. We got some good young talent guys that Longview community knows about them. They've watched them play Pee Wee football, but not everybody knows about them. And look at DK Reese, spring he's had. I mean, kid, he can play receiver, he can play quarterback if we ask him to. Kelvin Washington Jr., we call him Boosie. Everybody knows him as Boosie. Watch him with the ball in his hand. He's electric. Makai Stewart, Fred Hawkins have already talked about. Guys like that can go make plays. And our tight ends, we ought to have 3 good tight ends that are able to be multiple in our formations. And we got some Joe Lee at running back, Brendavian Stevenson running back. So, I mean, we've got some good players, and their backups aren't bad either. So but it all starts up front. You've already hit on that, and how well we progress as an offense and the things we're able to do is going to be dependent on how well those guys play, Frank. And that's going to be a personal challenge to not only me but our offensive line coaches. They know that those offensive line guys ain't going to get their name in the paper. They don't need to. All they need to do is make sure Lobos are scoring points, moving the football, and controlling the line of scrimmage. That's enough for them.
You want me to break the ice? Okay.
No, I don't know if I can't see Coach. I can't tell if he's through talking.
Frank.
First thing, Frank, tomorrow morning, go to Best Buy. If Buddy's Home Furnishing doesn't have one, and let's get this guy a new camera.
I don't know what's going on. Dang technology. We had our internet down all day, so that might be something tied with that. So I don't know.
Well, Coach, I got a defensive question for you real quick before we let you go. I know you guys are returning like 9 starters coming back on defense, but you're losing a key guy in Mr. Isaac. Is there anybody that we can look forward to running that defense as good as he did last year?
Well, we've kind of made a few position changes. A guy that we hadn't talked a whole lot about is Tadarian Boone. The guy's going to be a 3-year starter. He was sophomore of the year in 2020. Guy knows for football. You're going to see him play inside linebacker. He's 5'9", about 170 pounds. He's not a true – he don't look like, a cookie cutter inside linebacker. He can find football. He can tackle in space. Guy's going to he's going to be set up to have a great year. Caden Brooks is back. If he plays like he played the last 4 games of the season, he's going to he can make a statement. The guy can run. He's been like our Ironman winner the last couple of years. He dang near won it this past year with a bad back. He's an elite talent. He can go. Got it. Oh Lord, I'm gonna forget somebody. You got me calling names now. Jeremiah Braggs is a guy that can play, give some quality depth. Got a young sophomore kid, Brendan Reese. You may see him line up at fullback or linebacker. I don't know, but he's got a chance to be on the varsity, this year. But it comes down to production. So those guys inside can make some plays. Chase Smith may move to our jack position. We've worked him there some to be able to, play some nickel stuff, and that's probably the home for him, probably the best fit. So those guys near the box can go be able to make some plays. And, and I mentioned Brendan and sophomores playing varsity. Last year we had to play 15 up on the varsity. Career record for that. I can tell you. Hope we never have to do that again. That had to deal with some injuries. That had to deal with a very small senior class and some very talented sophomores too. And I don't think they didn't deserve to be up, but we had to have them for depth purposes. And this year we're not going to have to play 15. We may play 2 or 3 right now the way it looks, 5 at the most. which is good. They need to play. Sometimes you take that sophomore and throw him on at varsity, he gets thrown in the fire and he gets lost. So we'll see. But we got some good young talent. Got some good young. I can tell you, our young sophomore offensive lineman I'm excited about. Now, I'm talking about some hammers. Now they look the part and they love it. There's 5 of them, and there's some couple of tight ends are about 225, 230, and and can run and can catch. So look out. Look out.
Coach, man, we appreciate your time. We're all really, really looking forward to this season. Frank, you got anything?
I don't, Coach. Like Morgan said, I appreciate you taking some time to sit down with us this evening, and we'll keep doing this weekly, maybe a couple times a week. Get some players on, get some assistant coaches, and hopefully, not that you guys need it, but help bring some excitement to Lobo football this year.
Well, season tickets were humming this week, I can tell you that. So there's some excitement going on. But I'll get this camera fixed more. That way, when we do this again, we won't have that problem. So
you got a face for TV and a voice for radio.
All right, Frank.
Appreciate it, Coach. We'll see you later.
Hey,
thanks, Coach.
Good seeing you. Bye.
All right, fellas. What are we on to next?
Man, we didn't even get to talk about Jordan Allen. 1,200 yards last year, 11 touchdowns, 8 on the ground. Having him back, and we saw him play in the spring game. I mean, he's active on his feet. I'm kind of excited to see how he's progressed through the season.
Yeah, so Jordan, coaches said he's really bought in over the last 6-8 months. Ran track. Me and Keaton got a chance to see him play some Gold Glove third place baseball season, and I can just tell by looking at him, he's put on. He looks like a man. Like, it's a big kid now. Super athletic. Arm looks good. He's going to be a problem for opposing defenses on top of the other problems.
Well, I tell you, I remember watching him in the spring game. He was very active. He was, if he didn't have his first couple of reads there, he was taking off. So if he can continue to keep doing what he was doing, looked like he had a good summer with the 7-on-7. So if he can keep going, keep moving the ball down the field, I think the sky's gonna be the limit for him.
Yeah,
Frank.
I'm sorry. He's got the luxury of having the magic eraser, right? Something goes wrong, just throw it to number 8.
Absolutely.
So
you got him and Tatum.
Obviously, Jalen's going to be double teamed every play of the entire season. If it's 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line, they're going to double team him anyway. You know what I mean? So, what's it looking like on the other side of the field?
Well, Coach brought his name up, DK Reese, DeKalen. Looks like he had a growth spurt. Big kid. I've got him on video mossing some kids in 7-on-7, and he's already got a D1 offer from UT San Antonio. So they've got weapons this year on top of the elite running back and elite wide receiver.
Taylor, I've been following him this summer, been communicating a little bit with him. Just played in the Hank Aaron Invitational, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was on our television, led off for Team Robinson.
He did.
A
lot of adrenaline. He struck out, but it's to be expected. Every kid playing struck out. They're on television for the first time.
Yeah. I believe if you don't follow recruiting and you're watching, he came out ranked the number 3 running back in the nation by 247 Sports in his class, which goes without saying. It's a huge deal. The day that came out, I started getting phone calls from some of the guys in Texas and a really big national guy, which we'll maybe have on Thursday. It looks like is Sam Spiegelman. Been on ESPN. If you don't know him, Google him. He's a big deal. He's committed to one Longview home game for sure, but he's going to make one of the Metroplex games as well. He said it's not very often he gets to go watch 2 top 300 players on the same team.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and if you're watching this, you know who Taylor Tatum is. But if you don't, we're talking elite athlete. Ran the last leg of the 4x100 several times for the track team that won all their meets. Led off for the baseball team, hitting opposite field home runs. Is currently not currently, but just got back from Georgia playing on a national team, and like you said, the number 3 running back in the country. We're talking about a kid that this time next year he's going to look like an SEC running back. He's just putting on muscle so quickly that I almost can't recognize the kid.
Yeah,
and he's just a good kid.
One thing you forgot, one thing you didn't mention, he can also throw you out from that outfield too.
Yes.
A big time more.
So, what's a crystal ball? 247 came out. Jalen's going to Texas. I think that's been about a month now. I don't know if they've retracted that yet or not. But what's this recruitment? I saw he was at Alabama last weekend, or here recently. He went to USC first weekend of June, and then Georgia. Visited Alabama here recently. I think he has another visit with Alabama in September. Is that correct? Going to a game?
I believe
like
so. But like Coach said, Jalen, he keeps that stuff to himself. So there's no – if you're going to ask me where I think he's going to play college football, I simply don't have an answer for you. I know where I hope he ends up. I think we're all three on the same page there, but that's out of our control.
I'm excited to watch. I literally get asked all the time. I can be middle of nowhere, and somebody will ask me about Jalen Hill. And it's just like you kind of expect everybody kind of knows who he is, but it's just like, how good is he? I'm like, I got to be honest. I don't in person, high school. I don't know if I've ever seen a better wide receiver in person.
Yeah, the easiest the comparison that I make is when I first got back into town hanging out with the Gameday crew, get a chance to see Damian Collins up close in person. I'd never seen it in person. That's what they look like, a McDonald's All-American basketball player. That's how Jalen is. It's just, you can tell there's just something different about the kid. Not that he's any different than the other kids on the field, but he's the best player on the football field and have been for quite a while now. And it's electric. Every single play, that's the first place my eyes go. Snap. If it's not handed off, I'm finding number 8.
Absolutely.
I always go to one play when I think about Jalen Hill, and I have it on my phone saved because anytime I'm asked about him, I always say he's the best wide receiver I've seen with the ball in his hands. And I show him that video from the Bryant game where he comes across the field and a wave of people are coming, and he literally slows down at the end zone to let somebody catch up with him so he can hit him. He looks like he's running 4.2 speed in that video. I mean, he was at the camera so quick. It was like, my God. That's just, man, I feel like we're just blessed to be covered. Number 1 ranked team in the state. And it means a little more to all of us with it being the Longview Lobos. So much great talent on this team. I'm ready for the season, guys.
Yeah, I am too. I'm excited. We got
it's here.
Yeah, it's here. It's a lot of people that's excited. It's like I haven't felt the excitement of football season being back like this in a long time. And this team has just about a good chance as any team that's come through there to be able to hold this whole world up at the end of the season.
Yeah, and it's coming schedule-wise. 1 week from Saturday's media day. The next Thursday is the Texas High at Longview scrimmage. There's still some tickets available for that if you want to come out. And when Texas High comes to town, it's serious. You know what I mean? It's a scrimmage, but those kids take it very seriously. And then a week later, the lights come on. We're in Dallas, and we're off and running live from McKinney.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Texas High scrimmage with them. It's great for obviously us. Texas High's ranked number 10 in the state. They'll give Longview a good look.
Oh yeah,
And
they'd be definitely a good test.
Texas High starts off with opening night. There's a chance that Longview sees them down the road.
I was knowing that Frisco Lone Star's coming out ranked number 2, 5A Division II. I feel like this is a great. I know Coach Stanford didn't schedule this game for Coach King, but it's perfect for Coach King because he's going to get to a like opponent. He's going to know how good Texas High is. Frisco Lone Star is going to put up a ton of points. They're going to have a really explosive offense this year. And that would, it would be great to see them in a state championship game. Let's just assume everything works and this is Longview's year. I prefer them not play Frisco in the state championship game because I don't believe they're going to bring the crowd Longview's going to bring. I want an old school, like, somebody that's going to bring 20 or 30,000 with them. You know what I mean? I want one of those.
Absolutely. I remember going back to that state championship game. Man, we left like 4 hours before the game, and literally took us 3 hours to get to Dallas because everybody and their mama was headed down to 20
Yeah.
for that game. And
The parking lot that I park in for Cowboys games, I had to park across the street, and I paid someone $20 to park in their driveway for a high school football game. Now I probably could have drove to like the Rangers side of the stadium, and you could have got a parking space, but it was just like, man, you couldn't move. Traffic was so bad.
yeah.
And it was just, man, it was exciting. I was there for that one. That was actually the first Longview game I had been to in a while, and wasn't going to miss that one. And it looks like I wasn't the only one that wasn't going to miss it.
Yeah. The only downside would be I'm going to want to just be a fan, but instead I'm going to have a camera on me and trying to catch this stuff for future generations to see.
Well, Frank, let me tell you what we do on state
Tell you what
championship
you're going to
games.
do. I'm going to go ahead and turn that mic off.
Well, here's what we do on state championship games. We can't compete with Fox. So what we do is we get some locker room stuff, and we do kind of enjoy the game on the sideline.
Yes. And hopefully in the middle of the field when it's over too, right?
Oh, yeah. We made a video that included some of the, the game, the post game. You can catch it on our YouTube page. You'll have to go back to right around the time they had their parade, and it includes a lot of that footage. It may not be on this YouTube page. I'll probably go back and post it to this one. And just watching that, and just like, it still gives you goosebumps, and everyone from Longview knows what it means to win a state championship, and especially in that moment, his son at quarterback, all the years, of getting there and not being able to finish the job, you could tell was draining on him. So I was really excited for him, even though I didn't even know him at the time. I was just really excited for Longview fans. I was excited for him, his son, the team. And hopefully we can, get that ring this year.
Yeah, I joke with Coach a lot. If they get there, he's got to let me mic him up for that game.
Oh, that'd be gold. That would be gold. Hopefully he's not joking.
Depends on how it goes, right?
Yeah, big expectations. We probably shouldn't be talking about state championship in August.
Yeah.
But here's what we do know. We have one of the most talented teams in the state right here, with all the tools to accomplish, the goal. And I think this Denton Ryan, which is what everybody's bringing up right now. How are you ranked 1 with Denton Ryan out there? Well, I think it's pretty easy. You go from that first game of the year last year, which Longview just didn't perform like we would hope they would, to that playoff game against Denton Ryan being a very winnable game. Coming down to the last, they had a chance right there at the end to win. So that team got that much better. With 15 returning starters, give me the Lobos at 1.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Not a doubt in my mind. Well, then again, I'm not a national guy covering the other teams, but this is a good football team and absolutely worthy of their number 1 ranking.
I interviewed Greg Tepper, managing editor of Dave Campbell Magazine, last week. When we brought up the Lobos, we talked about them, and he's like, there's just a feel. He said, you can't explain it. But he said he thinks he speaks Longview enough to know that this is the year, and that's crazy because if this is the year, what does next year look like?
Yeah.
So big expectations, which always, comes with the number 1 ranking. But, Longview, Lobos embrace that, the school district as a whole, best in state on everything they do. I don't think this is we know what it is. This is what Lobo fans want.
Oh, yeah. And with these big expectations, man, for me, I don't take it lightly. I know it's going to be a few games here and there that, like Coach King said, it's going to take a little look. It's going to take Jalen. Jalen may have an off game. Taylor may not be able to do something. It may take the legs of Jordan Allen to be able to make a play here and there. It's going to take this. So with us being able to hopefully crown ourselves state champions at the end of the year, it's going to take a little bit of luck, a little bit of that ball to bounce our way.
Yeah. At the level of football Longview's playing, yes, there is a little bit of luck involved. I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of luck, I left before that North Shore Hail Mary. I literally was in the parking lot when that happened. I was like, no, I'm not staying for this. I'm going to get out of here before all these people, like it was a Cowboys game or something. This game's over. Let's get out of here. I'm in the parking lot wondering why everybody's screaming.
Yeah,
It was terrible.
man, I remember being at Dairy Palace watching that game when that play happened, and the whole place in Dairy Palace was full of Lobos. That place erupted like we just won the state championship in there because everybody had watched that play.
Yeah.
It got loud.
Yeah, and speaking of luck, the brand and the style of football that Longview plays, it kind of it helps to lessen the I guess the need for luck. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
the margin of error is wider when you're trying to win up front. If you're doing that, not a whole lot of bad luck can take you out of a game. You know what I mean? If you're controlling what you're trying to control, what you're wanting to control, bad luck here is not going to hurt you too much.
yeah.
Right,
You don't see a lot of
about, sorry, go ahead, Keaton. My bad.
No. I was saying you don't see our style of play as physical as we play. You don't see a lot of teams within the 5'8", 6'8" level playing like that. A lot of teams that spread the ball out. Us, our first thing is we're gonna hit you in the mouth on both sides of the ball, and we're gonna see what type of kahunas you got.
Sure, yeah. If you're not snapping the ball to the shotgun and throwing it every other play, the odds of making a huge mistake decrease dramatically, and that's kind of where Longview is.
Big time.
Hey, Frank, let's talk a little bit about what game day is going to look like this season. We're making changes, not necessarily as a company, but we want to give the fans the best look possible, worthy of a number one ranking. So, what are some things we're doing, in the Longview market?
Well, we are partnering with the school to see that after games, we're going to have the set up and running, and we're going to actually let you talk to some kids on the sideline in real time after the game. Coach is going to join us on set. Kids are going to join us on set. We're going to focus a little bit more on quality over quantity of videos. We're going to mic up the coaches more, mic up the kids. And I want, at the end of this season, if we do end up at the top of the mountain, I want to be able to look back and trace the journey back through our videography. And that's kind of the plan. It's going to be really cool. So some of that stuff you'll get to see as we go along. But a lot of the same stuff too. We're going to keep you updated on stats in the city and standings. But you're Lobo fans. You want to see Lobo stuff, and we're going to bring more of that to you. I'm going to get Keaton more involved. Matter of fact, Keaton's going to do color for us in the first game because our color guy's off at a wedding. So
I'm looking forward to that. I didn't know that. I knew our color guy was out for game one, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I think Keaton's going to
have to broadcast with a professional instead of me.
Hey man, I'm gonna love it.
Chuck is really, really good. I'm telling y'all. I met Chuck. He might have been the very first person I ever interviewed with when we started Game Day. And keep in mind, I had no experience. And I meet Chuck Zach, and I'm like, a real professional. Mm-hmm. And to say I thought maybe I got myself into something a little bit bigger than what I thought I was getting into would be an understatement. We were so lucky to have Chuck Zach and Tony come on for Longview Game Day. Was really excited. It was a no-brainer when they said they'd do it. But Keaton, in the future, I could see Keaton Daniels voicing the Lobos.
He is baseball and softball season for sure, and basketball season.
Hey man, I tell you, man, I've told you guys both this, man. It's nothing more that I enjoy doing. Just calling a Longview game, just being there. I have fun doing it. And so when Frank asked me, of course I said yes. It's right up my alley.
Yeah. When we found out Longview was interested in letting us come down there and do Game Day, I remember telling Frank I wouldn't be more excited if the Dallas Cowboys called. And it wouldn't make sense if you're not from that area. You got to be from that area for it to make sense. And I was just completely elated. I told Frank, so you better go down there and you better not what this up.
Yeah.
And great first season, man. I was excited. That was my first time back on the field in a long time. That very first home game. It was hot. That was hot. But a lot of great memories. And looking to make more.
So we're going to try to do this at a minimum once a week. And Katie and Lizzie are going to hop on with us occasionally. I'm going to start reaching out to some of the players and some of the assistant coaches and just give you kind of a inside look at what they're going through and, just help to paint the picture, round it out for Lobo fans, what we've got going.
I love it. Great way to keep up with players, coaches, and football in the area. Two things: Katie and Lizzie are two of my favorite people in the world. Couldn't be more ecstatic that they're helping us out with Game Day. They actually were on the set the first night we ever started Game Day in Texarkana. Love those girls to death. And second thing, we need to get Coach King a new camera, and we need to get Frank some WD-40 for that chair.
This isn't the chair. That's not me.
It's you. I can hear that thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Or how about a new chair? We can do that.
That's not in the budget.
One other thing is, I'm excited about the other sports too, Keaton. We got a chance to sit down with the new girls basketball coach, and I think they're gonna have a squad.
Man, I've been hearing a lot of good things just from her little time and just being there. They a lot of the girls that are there now, from their parents, they're talking about how they already are buying into what she's doing. Their excitement just from the way that they're doing drills is they can't contain
she's
their
using
excitement.
social media. She's got a TikTok and a Twitter account that she's putting out pretty cool, like fun practice videos. So I'm looking
I
forward
need to follow her. It is.
We got to finish football season first.
New head boys basketball coach.
That too.
Who I live here up here in Texarkana. Great man, great coach. Longview, we're very lucky to have him. He's going to do great things there.
Yeah.
How's volleyball looking, Frank?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Frank's our resident volleyball expert.
Yeah, I was about to say bring that on.
He's been watching sand volleyball all summer to learn.
So we're going to cover volleyball this year on Tuesday nights. If they're at home, we're going to stream that volleyball game. I can't promise you're going to want to listen to me talk about volleyball, but it will be on television one way or the other.
Well, Keaton will figure it out. He's the voice of the Lobos.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to ask my wife a few things about that.
We look at each other like, you got the point, right?
Right.
Either way.
Yeah, I do that. Sometimes I'll see one side cheer and I don't know what they're cheering for. Like I don't understand how they got a point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know anything about it. We'll have more photographers on the sideline this year. Surprise. It's not hard to get photographers to want to cover the number one ranked team in the state. We'll have Wayne Grubbs, professional sports photographer, covers huge events across the country. Of course, I'll be there doing my thing here and there. I'm not near as good as Wayne. But we've had a lot of people reach out. So there could be games. We have 5 or 6 different cameras on the sideline, gathering game day content to not miss an angle, not miss a video. Really excited about it.
Yeah. All in all, pretty good first show, fellas. I really enjoy the time we get to talk to Coach King, however often it is.
Yeah.
He's just awesome. He's good for a gold quote at least once every 3 or 4 minutes. You know what I mean? Makes me laugh.
Absolutely.
I want to give a shout out real quick to Buddy's Home Furnishing. They agreed to come on in both markets, sponsor our shows here, make this available to us. Got our software for us and everything. Shout out to them. Shout out to area manager Kelly Norris making that happen. Go Lobos.
We'll see you next week.
All right, boys.